Hello and welcome to Loving Me, Myself, and Life with me, Jody Misiak, and welcome to the second episode in our mini-series, Mindset Transformation for a Fulfilling Life. Now, today's episode is one I think many of us can relate to. We're diving deep into that voice inside your head that just won't stop criticizing you, the one that tells you you're not good enough, or smart enough, or capable enough, that pesky voice we're going to call the inner critic. But guess what? You don't have to let that voice define you anymore. Today, we're going to explore how to identify, challenge, and reframe those negative internal narratives so you can finally break free and start living with more confidence and self-compassion. So grab a cozy seat, get comfortable, grab your favorite beverage, a journal if you have one handy, or maybe just let this episode wash over you. Let's dive in. Okay, first I want to just start off by saying I have an inner critic too. I know as well as anybody else those voices that are in our heads that prevent us from doing things. Even when I moved to BC from Ontario, I almost let that inner critic prevent me from moving. I had to understand it, where it was coming from. So as I share these things, I wanted to let you know that you're not alone. You're not the only person that has this inner critic. We all have this voice or voices, multiple ones, different things that can prevent us or that can beat us down. So that's why I think it's really important to understand your inner critic. And that's what we're going to do right now. So, what is the inner critic? That little voice in your head that says you're not good enough, or why did you even try? It's something we all have, like I said before, even me. Yes, and everyone. Even the most confident, successful, and seamlessly fearless people have wrestled with the same inner dialogue at some point. In fact, I remember reading articles or listening to interviews, and even the most famous, well-known names out there have struggled and still struggle to this day, where something that they might have learned or has like internalized in them, and it still comes out sometimes. You're not alone. But here's the thing. The inner critic isn't something you were born with. It's shaped by your experiences, like social expectations, childhood messages, and even cultural norms. Maybe you were told as a kid that you had to be perfect to succeed, or maybe you felt judged for making mistakes. Over time, those messages become internalized, and voila, your inner critic was born. I want to share a personal story with you. For the longest time, I didn't feel like I was smart enough. And it stems back from my own childhood when I was told that I wasn't smart enough. And then my parents took me to see many doctors, and then I was diagnosed with a learning disability. So then I put that label on myself. And the fun fact is, later in life, I discovered I didn't have a learning disability. I learned differently. Even though I had a hard time with reading and writing, with the right support and encouragement and understanding, I was able to overcome that. But if I got stuck in those beliefs that I had a learning disability and that I would never be able to read properly or spell, I would have gave up and never did anything with my life. And it first started with my now husband. When we were dating, he helped me. He didn't judge me when I asked, how do you spell this? And he helped me along without any judgment. No judgment at all. Very, very supportive. And then as I asked for more support, I didn't need it as much because then I understood how to spell those words. And there was this time where I feared when I became a mom, I wouldn't be able to read with my children, or that I'd reach a point where I couldn't read the words that they're reading. And I want to tell you this, that fear is no longer there, because I know that any word I don't understand, I will figure out. And my reading and writing level has come, oh my goodness, so far. And even a while back, my husband, shared, was like, good job on like using words I don't normally use on this podcast. And I struggled with them at first. But instead of beating myself up, I continued and I was like, I know I can do this. But 10 years ago, I would have given up. I probably would have went and cried and just been like, I'm over, throwing the towel. I can't do this. So I want to share that with you because our inner critics can be very mean, but they're not who you are. So let's keep going as I, get out of my own personal story and share with you, how can I help you? So let's talk about how that inner critic impacts our lives. I've already shared a little bit of how it impacted mine. So negative self-talk doesn't just stay in your head. It influences your self-esteem, how you make decisions, and even how you interact with others. For example, have you ever hesitated to go after a big goal because you thought, I'm not good enough, or I'll probably just fail anyways? That's your inner critic winning. And if left unchecked, this kind of self-talk can create a cycle of self-doubt and missed opportunities. But here's the good news. You have the power to rewrite this. You can break free from this inner critic's grip. And I'm going to show you how. So let's dive right into the next step. Recognizing those thought patterns. Because you can't change what you don't know what's going on. So there could be some thoughts going on in there that you don't even really know is happening, or maybe you say it so often that they just become your norm. I want you to think about the last time you criticized yourself. Maybe it was this morning as you were getting dressed, or last week when you made a mistake at work. What's that voice in your head saying? Some common examples of negative self-talk sound like this. I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. I always mess everything up. I'll never be successful. Why would anyone care about what I have to say? Do any of these sound familiar? If so, you're not alone. These kinds of thoughts are so common. Now, let's take a step further and look at the patterns behind these thoughts. So different thoughts can go into different categories. So one category is when you imagine the worst case scenario, even if it's unlikely. For example, here's a thought that could be going through your head. If I make a mistake during this presentation, everyone will think I'm incompetent and I'll lose my job. So maybe you will make a mistake, right? But it's jumping to the worst case scenario. So that's one way our thoughts can go. Another one is taking a single negative event and believing it represents a never-ending pattern. For instance, in your head, you'd say, I failed this one test, so I might be terrible at everything. Even though it was one test. But you can take that one event and have it go overflow into the rest of your week, month, year. And then another one is self-blame. And this is holding you responsible for things outside of your control. For example, you might be saying, if my friend is upset, it must be my fault. So it's always thinking that whatever is going on negatively in your life is your fault. Even though you probably have you probably aren't responsible. But that's where you go. So there's 3 different areas. There's 3 really identifying patterns. And by really understanding these patterns in your thinking, then you can really take that first step towards breaking free from them. So, because awareness is super key. So it's just kind of thinking like, what area did you fall into? The one is like the worst case scenario. or where you're overgeneralizing, where it's one single event has now represented forever, or self-blame, holding yourself responsible for things outside of your control. So when you're looking at your inner critic, just kind of see if there's a pattern there, if it falls into any one of those three patterns. Okay, so now that we've uncovered the inner critic and its patterns, it's time for my favorite part, rewriting the script. This is where the magic happens. Step 1 is challenging your negative thoughts. When that inner critic starts whispering, "You're such a failure," I want you to pause and ask yourself, is this thought 100% true? What evidence do I have to support it? And what evidence do I have to contradict it? Chances are, when you really dig into it, you'll realize that those negative thoughts aren't based on facts. They're just stories your brain has been telling you. Okay, so step 2 is reframing those thoughts. So here's an example. Instead of, "I'm terrible at this," try saying, "I'm still learning and every step I take is progress." And then another example, instead of, "I always mess everything up," try, "Sometimes I make mistakes, but that's a part of being human." Do you see how that shift in perspective opens up space for growth and self-compassion? Oh, I just feel so much better. Like the first one felt heavy, and then the reframe felt so much lighter and more confident. I hope you see that too. And then step 3 is introducing affirmations. So I love affirmations, and they came into my life probably really early on, if not at the very beginning of my self-love journey, possibly even before I really dug deep, because I read a lot of Louise Hay's books, and they are amazing. So if affirmations are something that you really like, or you're having a hard time coming up with your own, I encourage you to look at Louise Hay's books. There's I Can Do It, is a great, great book from her. And You Can Heal Your Life is another one. Now, I know I said I love affirmations, but I know some people might feel like affirmations are a little cheesy, and that's okay. The key is to find affirmations that feel authentic and empowering for you. If you're saying something that doesn't feel true to you, you're not going to stick with it, or you're just going to kind of half say it, and it's not really, you're not going to feel it. A big component of saying affirmations is to help rewrite your inner thoughts or your inner critic, right? But you also need to feel like it's true to you. And it's about feeling, right? Because these negative thoughts ignite some inner feeling, right? Negative usually, heavy, dark. But these affirmations should hopefully feel light, energizing, and really align to who you truly are. So here's a few examples to get you started. I am capable of achieving great things. I am worthy of love and respect just as I am. I am learning and growing every single day. The more you practice these affirmations, the more they'll start to feel natural. It's like It's like training a muscle. The more you do it, the stronger it gets. So I really encourage you to take sticky notes, or I take cue cards that are super bright and super awesome, and I write in nice marker on them, and I put them in my bathroom, in my office. I put them anywhere I spend a lot of time, right? I'm brushing my teeth in the morning. I see my affirmations. I'm in my office working. I see my affirmations. Hopefully you get it, right? Put it where you see it, and then you can say it and repeat it over and over. You can also take it another step further and write them out, like 10 times each, or whatever works for you, like in your journal, if that's what feels right to you. All right, before we wrap up, I want to leave you with a couple of actionable exercises you can try this week. First exercise, reframe your self-talk. Take a moment to write down 3 common self-critical thoughts you've been having lately. Then, next to each one, write a reframed version that's more growth-oriented and compassionate. For example, self-critical thought, I'll never be good at this. Reframed thought, I'm still learning, and with practice, I'll get better. Okay, exercise 2. Start a daily affirmation practice. Choose one affirmation that resonates with your personal goals and write it down. Say it out loud to yourself every morning or whenever you catch yourself slipping into negative self-talk. Okay, so I really hope that this has helped you understand your inner critic. Why do you kind of always have these negative thoughts pop up? And understanding that they're not who you truly are. So I'd love to hear from you. What's one critical thought you're working to reframe? Or what's your favorite affirmation? Share them with me on Instagram or head over to my website and join the BU community, an absolutely free group that you can go in and share this with me. And if you found this episode helpful, don't forget to subscribe and share it with someone who might need a little extra encouragement today. Remember, breaking free from the inner critic takes time and patience, but you've already taken the first step just by tuning in. And also, if you want to take this even further, I have a 4-part course that is designed on flipping the switch on your negative thoughts. It's actually what it's called, Flip the Switch on Your Negative Thoughts. So if you're looking for a deeper dive into your inner critic, check that course out. Thank you for joining me on this journey of loving yourself. Until next time, be kind to yourself. You're doing better than you think. Take care and have a beautiful, beautiful day. Until next episode. Bye for now.